to the 25, breaks a couple of tackles, and look at him go! He could go all the way! Touchdown!
Winning is not something, it's an moment. Winning is a habit.
What's up, sports fans? Welcome back to episode 2, season 5, and our second round of the first round of the 2021 NFL Draft. We are back to cover picks 17 to 32. With me, as always, good friend and co-host Seth Floyd Hanson. How you feeling today, man?
I'm good. I am stressed, but I'm good. I'm stressed about the draft tomorrow, or I guess when this releases, but I'm stressed for Thursday, to say the least. But I'm excited because it's my favorite day of the year, so it'll be fun to see how it plays down.
Really worried about the 49ers getting Davis Mills at number 3, right?
Dude, at this point, oh my goodness, dude. I've heard, so I'll just say this. I know there's been reports that have come out, but there's a dude I follow and I listen to who is very tapped into the Bay Area, and he just has some guys, and he says a guy he trusts who in the last year he said he's never missed on anything he's asked about the 49ers, including this guy had kind of told him leading up to the trade, like 2 weeks before the trade, he mentioned that the 49ers were going to move up to make a splash. And he was like, I don't know if it's true, but we'll see. And so this guy told him after the Shanahan press conference, the guy laughed and told the guy I listened to that, dude, this is all smokescreen. He's like, wait for the curveball on Thursday. It's all smokescreen.
Oh.
So now take it for what it's worth, because I don't think the 49ers leak anything, but it sounds like this guy at least knows the thought process of what they think. And it sounds like this guy was right about the trade up to the draft, and no one knew about that either. So I don't know. I'm holding out hope, because I'm going to be one devastated human being if that is Mac Jones at 3.
So I know what the deal is, right? Bill Belichick gave Kyle Shanahan Jimmy G for a steal. So now Kyle Shanahan is going to give Belichick that number 3 pick just for the number 15, and that's it. So Belichick can come in and get his guy at quarterback, and then they're going to call it even. Godfather deal right there. That's what's happening. Belichick's got Shanahan's number here.
So the 49ers gave up 2 first-round picks, 2022, 2023, to move back 3 spots. That's what it was.
Yeah. All because Belichick, man. He's in there. He's playing chess, man.
I will for sure be a Chargers fan if that's what happens. No, man, it's good. I think the Patriots are going to be aggressive. I know we didn't have them trading up in our mock the last time, but they definitely could be trading up. It's going to be fun to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. So quick recap on our picks. I won't go through all of them, but the top quarterbacks are off the board. Now, Mac Jones, the last one, going to New England at 15. Lance to the Broncos after they traded up. So we had the first 4 quarterbacks going 1 through 4, and then went pretty much chalk after there. The only one in PFF's big board out of the top 16 that hasn't gone yet is Devonta Smith, who was their number 9 wide receiver, but I imagine he's going to be going here pretty quick. Before we get started, I will say big shout out to Sean Lee, wearing his jersey today, announced his retirement after 11 great seasons. A lot of injuries, unfortunately, but loved watching the guy play. Always a stud when he was out there on the field. Huge fan of his. Wish him the best of luck moving forward.
I'm a big Sean Lee fan, and I think it's probably the right call by him. Yeah. Like, he's so banged up, he needs to live his life, but a great career and a great example of what a good football player is.
Yeah, absolutely. Which is why I was saying linebacker should be a need in the draft for the Cowboys. Kind of saw this coming. Even if he wasn't going to retire, he wasn't playing a full season.
Right.
So we'll see. I still like the Cowboys getting Micah Parsons at 10 if he's there. I think it's going to be a tough decision, but we'll see how Parsons kind of slides on the board, because he might. So
Sure.
All right. Enough of that. Back to the draft. Las Vegas Raiders, now with the 17th overall pick, are on the clock. GM Seth Floyd Hanson, what you got?
So, first off, I don't think anyone knows what Las Vegas is doing with their offseason. I don't think John Gruden has the slightest clue, and it's a little worrisome. But they dismantled their offensive line for whatever reason, and then they decided to give this contract to Kenyon Drake for whatever reason. Why?
Yeah.
I don't know. But if I'm sitting there, I'm pretty predictable at this point on how I feel about you should build a football team. It's pretty disappointing that Christian Darrisaw went to the Vikings a couple picks before me.
Mm-hmm.
I think he would have been a nice pickup. So I literally am just going with the next lineman on my board, and this is an interior lineman. Okay, it's Vera Tucker out of USC, Elijah Vera Tucker out of USC. I think this is about the right spot to have him. I mean, depending on the needs of a team, I think that it's not a reach. You're building your line, especially with the offensive season they had. So I think that just try to build around that run game and give Josh Jacobs and apparently give Kenyon Drake some room to run. So that's where I'm going. Vera Tucker.
I like it. It's a good move. PFF has him at 34. There's a couple other outside tackles you could get if you want to go that way. But Vera Tucker's sort of flexibility and movement throughout the line is definitely of value. And I think he's going to be a stud. USC usually has some good products. So, yeah, I like the pick. At 18, now with the Miami Dolphins back on the clock after picking at 6. I went with Jamar Chase there, who I thought was one of the best players on the board still, fitting a need. Now going need again, want to get a playmaker on defense for Brian Flores. So Trayvon Moehrig, safety out of TCU.
Okay.
I think that's gonna shore up that secondary. They already got some studs in Byron Jones and Howard as the 2 cornerbacks. So I'm just gonna take honestly one of the best guys left on the board. And a great guy who's going to come in right away and be a starter.
I like it. I thought you were going to go Devontae Smith. You were going to get Jamar Chase and Devontae Smith. That would be wild. Not
tempted, but yeah.
Yeah, just to say you did it, that would be cool, but probably not the smartest way to build your team. Cool. So 19, that brings me to Washington. Now, I do want to say I wouldn't be surprised to see the Washington football team trade up in this draft to try and take one of the last of the 5 quarterbacks, whether it's Trey Lance, Mac Jones, whoever it is. For some reason, people think it's Justin Fields going to fall. I don't buy that, but if he does, they would be a team I'm sure would be interested. At 19, look, I just want to say I'm really high on Washington, and I'm sure you and I will go into a division preview or our rankings for the divisions. I'm really high on Washington. They have a great defense. And they have upgraded their quarterback for sure with Ryan Fitzpatrick. He's not the long-term answer, but for 2021, they're going to be a lot better. And so this pick is reflecting of I'm just going all in. We made the playoffs last year. Better quarterback play, more weapons on offense. Probably going to make some more move. Like who knows? You never know what could happen.
Yeah.
And so I'm taking Devontae Smith, who has dropped all the way to me at 19, the Heisman Trophy winner, great wide receiver. The only reason he has fallen this far is because of his weight. Like his weight is literally the only thing. And so if I pair him with Terry McLaurin, I have Antonio Gibson running the ball. I have Fitzmagic, who just slings it all over the yard. Like now my offense is going from a liability to, combined with my defense. That's teams are going to be scared. Teams are going to be scared of the Washington Redskins, Washington football team.
It does look pretty good. They also picked up Curtis Samuel in the offseason as well, I'm pretty sure. So another good weapon there. I mean, I remember Fitzmagic with Deshaun Jackson with the Buccaneers. He had a good run, and I think Smith can kind of do some of that stuff that a healthy Jackson can do. It makes sense, right? He's definitely the best guy on the board at this point. So I say go with it and help out that offense because that was definitely your weak point. So good pick.
Yeah. I think it's gonna be good.
For the Bears, another team that should probably be in the quarterback market. However, to move up, kind of like Washington, they're going to have to give up a lot to get in front of the Broncos, in front of the Patriots probably. That's going to be a lot. So I like them just trying to get best player on the board or build around their team. I could go a couple ways with this, but I think cornerback is a bigger need for them instead of wide receiver. So I'm going to go Greg Newsome, cornerback out of Northwestern. Solid guy, a little bit of injury concern, but he picked off Justin Fields a couple times last season. Solid man guy, and I think Bears are going to continue to go defense here. So Greg Newsome.
It's good. I mean, they sling it in the NFC North, and it's gonna be important that a lot of people think he could be the best corner in the draft too. I mean, and everyone says that. There's always a guy that they'll say that about, but without some of his injury history, like he is legit. So the corners that are off the board now, Matt, are Patrick Surtain. Is it just Patrick Surtain? Oh, it's J.C. Horn, Patrick Surtain, and Greg Newsome. Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
So
just
making
sure. Making sure. Okay. All right. So at 21, I had the Indianapolis Colts, and I'm gonna get a little jumpy because Greg Newsome is off the board, and I think that I think that this isn't what I had planned is my problem. This isn't what I had planned.
Okay.
But I feel like with the way the league is trending, like I feel kind of like I got my hands tied. We're gonna take a swing here, okay? We're gonna take a swing here, and for the Colts, feel like I'm getting a little bit of a steal. I know there's some injury history, but I think we're gonna go Caleb Farley out of Virginia Tech, who is without a doubt a top 15 talent, but has had some injury problems.
Okay. I like it.
Now we're not asking him to be like, it's already a pretty stout defense. I'm not going to be forced to play him week one. We can ease him in to make sure we feel comfortable. But just the talent is there. 6'2", 200 plus pounds. Like, I mean, what more do you want? You know what I mean? They're going to have to go see. They still have to go see A.J. Brown twice a year. I mean, this is a good move to counter some of the stuff going on in your division, I think. So I think that wasn't my original plan. I had someone else's name written down, but because you went Greg Newsome, I got jumpy that none of these corners, that cornerback is going to be off the board pretty quick.
Yeah, I get it. I would have been tempted to go wide receiver. I was wondering if you were thinking that way. They did get Michael Pittman last year, but with Pittman, T.Y. Hilton, getting older but still there, I would want to throw as many weapons as possible to Carson Wentz now that you have him. But certainly, I mean, if Farley stays healthy, you have a steal there. Top 10 guy at number 21. So
certainly
can't hate it too much. So trying to map out my board here and pick who I would go Tennessee, number 22. Not sure who you are going to get. All I wrote down is I'm taking an edge player. Titans need an edge player. It's a little bit of a reach probably, but really not too much. So I'm going to go Jason Owe. Edge from Penn State.
Wow. Okay. I will tell you that I was thinking edge for the Colts. But I was not thinking him. I have a guy in this draft that I love personally that is not ranked that high, but I don't freaking care. I was about to pick him. You'll see. He's going to go here. Not on this pick, but he's going to go here soon. So now I have the Jets at – well, let me write this down real quick.
Yeah.
What a weird year for edge players.
I know.
Usually they are the premium, at least the last few years, and then this year there's just no one. I know I went pretty high with Kwity Paye, but I think that you're going to see some of them come at the end of the first round here. People are going to take a swing. So for me, for the New York Jets, okay, second pick in the first round here of 2021, I am taking a swing because of the offense that they're about to run I'm
Mhm.
also taking a swing because I know who is picking behind me, and this person is not going to last past the person behind me. And so I think at pick number 23, the New York Jets are going to select Najee Harris
Oh
from
man.
Alabama, and they're going to pair him with the new quarterback Zach Wilson to take a little pressure off of him. You drafted a wide receiver high last year in Denzel Mims,
Mhm.
so you kind of have this piece together
Wow.
now. I just like the Najee Harris pick because I can rely on him. I can feed him the rock. Like I don't have to, as long as he picks up the offense, it'll take a lot of pressure off Zach Wilson. My best running back on the roster right now. Do you know who the best running back is who would start if they don't add a guy? Do you know who it is?
Is it still Frank Gore?
It's not Frank Gore, but it is one Tevin Coleman who
Okay.
was so bad last year for the 49ers. The only reason they brought him in is because he knows the offense. So I'm
Yeah.
taking Najee to take pressure off of Zach Wilson. And I knew the Pittsburgh Steelers were eyeing him, and it is so sweet to take something away from the Pittsburgh Steelers. So
Yeah. Uh Man, I mean, I get it. I think Steelers fans want Harris or ETN there at number 24. I love those guys, but I'm playing as GM here. That the running back was not the problem with that team. Connor didn't have a great year. I get
well,
it now.
he didn't help. He
Didn't
wasn't part of
help,
the solution.
but I don't know if they. I don't know. All their problems are not going to be solved with getting Najee Harris or Travis
Sure.
Etienne. Certainly not by reaching for either of those guys. So I can try to get a good running back later in the draft. So I got to think my offensive line was banged up. I was going to go tackle here, but I'm looking at the board and I think defense, they need to go back to defense. And so I see Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah still on the board, linebacker from Notre Dame. I like that. Obviously, Devin Bush was on their team, got hurt. We'll see how he comes back. Ryan Shazier, with that devastating injury, they haven't had him come back. So they just need more dogs on defense. And I think having a guy like him come in, he can still play some coverage as well, which will help out on the team. And he's not necessarily a guy they need to rely fully on right away, but he can come in and just make some plays. So I'll take that linebacker out of Notre Dame.
Okay. Well, at 25 now, I have Jacksonville on the board, and I want to say that Jacksonville could go a lot of different ways because they have so much need. And actually, this is a spot where I think, while I don't think they should do this, I think that this is a spot where I think the 49ers could end up trading up. I mentioned it before, but they have more draft picks than roster spots available for rookies. So I imagine, and they're very high on their roster with re-signing Trent Williams and everybody they did. So I think they're trying to make a push for a lot of talent right now. And so this is a spot where I could see them trading up. You still have Asante Samuel on the board. That would be who I think they would trade up for. The other dark horse would have been possibly Najee Harris. For some reason, he's been linked to them. But I could see them do that. That's not what I'm doing here, though. I'm going to have Jacksonville make the pick. Okay. And at 25, I'm going to go with Jacksonville, taking the guy. And this is me. They'll never do this, but this is me, who I am really high on. Okay.
Okay.
He's dropped a bunch since the end of the season. But I'm going edge player Gregory Rousseau out of Miami, who opted out this past season, but the year before in 2019 had 15 and a half sacks, for that Miami defense. And I believe that if he had played, he would have maybe not had 15 and a half, but he would have been 10 plus sacks and would have solidified himself in the top half of this first round. I think teams are scared because he opted out. This is a second first-round pick for you. I still have more first-round picks coming in the following years, and so I think that if it's a swing and if I hit, then great. I've added a pass rusher who can really make a difference and do some damage.
Yeah, I don't think it's bad. I think there could have been some other opportunities later in the draft to go with that defense. I would have been tempted to just get some weapons around Trevor Lawrence. They have DJ Chark, obviously been a pretty good wide receiver, but I would have probably thrown another wide receiver at him. But hey, the way the NFL's going, you need to throw the ball and you need to stop the guy throwing the ball. So I can't hate it too much. Yeah. Let me get that one down. It is interesting because his own teammate has been getting some more love
than him.
Than he has. So.
Yep. I know, and I know that's why it's controversial, but I myself I'm taking a swing on the high ceiling. That's kind of where my head's at.
And if nothing else, it gets Trevor Lawrence a little scared to go to practice and have a guy he faced in the ACC stare him down on the other side of the ball.
Yep.
So
you're talking.
Keep your guy on your toes.
He's 6'6", 265 pounds. I mean, that's the kind of guy who is going to last in the NFL, but we'll see.
Yeah. All right, with the Cleveland Browns on the board now, have a few different needs for them. They did just pick up Javion Clowney
to pair with Myles Garrett,
which is pretty good. Maybe not a long-term solution to cover both of those edges, so I could go edge here with some pretty good talent still on the board. But I need some more depth at cornerback to pair with Denzel Ward, and I've already seen a lot of cornerbacks come off the board. So I'm not going to wait around. I'm not going to miss. I'm going to take Asante Samuel Jr. here, cornerback out of FSU, especially with all the other teams that are going to need a cornerback. So I'll jump on him here.
Yep. Good call. And I think, again, like he's kind of the one I'm keeping my eye on as a 49ers fan. He's the smallest of those top five. He's 5'10", but he can play. He's got good blood, good genes. Yep, just like Patrick Surtain. So, and J.C. Horn, Joe Horn's, it's his nephew, right, or is it his son?
Nephew.
I actually think it's his son. Now that I'm thinking about it. Anyway,
could be.
Interesting. We should know that. We're terrible at our job. Okay. Here we go. With the 27th pick, this one's going to hurt me, okay? Because this is a guy I really want to fall into the second round for my beloved 49ers if we don't trade up. But I think that this guy is electrifying. He is going to be arguably the best. Man, I don't know if it'll be better than Jamar Chase, but man, this dude is going to make plays. I'm just throwing this out there.
You going Marshall?
I'm going Rondell Moore out of Purdue.
Oh.
Are you ready for that? Have you watched Rondell Moore play? Have you seen
I know about Rondell Moore. That is, dude, you probably picked exactly who the Ravens are going to pick.
Yep.
And that is
I am
a
so
terrible pick.
Why? There's nothing bad about that pick. I love Rondell Moore.
I'm a fan, but they need a true number one wide receiver. They need a guy. They keep getting these just like small speed guys, and it's not working for them.
No. Here's the difference. Okay. Here's the difference. Hollywood Brown is like a speed guy, a non-physical guy. Rondell Moore is freaking Deebo Samuel out there. Rondell Moore is physical, and he jumps out of the freaking gym. He can run all the kind of routes. To me, what is a number one wide receiver? It's a myth. Like, what is it? You don't want a guy that just gets open. He can run the ball with the ball in his hands and he hits people. Like, that's a one number one receiver to me. Now, I get that he's not the biggest, if you want to argue that he's not the biggest, he's not going to win jump balls, sick. Last time I remembered, Lamar Jackson can't even throw the ball down the field. So I need a guy who is within 20 yards of the line of scrimmage, who is just open. And I'm telling you, you're going to look back and you're going to be like, man, Rondale Moore is probably the second or third best receiver in this class. That's
Rondale Moore is a good wide receiver. He's not what the Ravens need. That's all I'm saying. The Ravens need someone else there. So I'm okay. You do.
I don't understand what you don't like about him. He's just short. Is that your problem with him? He's just small.
He's not going to help Lamar Jackson stretch the field in the run game, right? Or in the passing game. He's not the type of guy that they need. They're all just clogging up the middle of the field with Brown, with Andrews. Now
Hollywood Brown is a speed guy who can go downfield. Like, that's what he's known for. That's like what he's known for.
I'm not seeing it, man. I'm not seeing it fit, but okay. I mean, hey, he's a player, man. I think I wish I saw more of more, no pun intended, in college. But obviously opting out and some injuries, it was a bummer. Like the kid's a stud. I get it. I liked him actually going to Jacksonville, like beginning around 2, something like that. But okay.
I'm just saying, dude, I'm gonna keep my receipt on this podcast about after the 2021 season how Rondale Moore's season compares to guys like there's another guy. Like, what is your thoughts on? I know we're getting off topic here, but what are your thoughts on Kadarius Toney? Because I think Toney is like Rondale Moore, where like I don't freaking care if they're not the biggest. I mean, he's taller than Rondale Moore, but he's not a giant, you know. Like, I just like dudes with the ball in their hands and make something happen, and guys who can get open. That's if I have to rank receivers, the number one thing is which guy gets open more than the other guys. Because I don't care how fast he is. I don't care how good his hands are. If he is not open, it does me no good. And that's how I view Kadarius Toney and Rondale Moore. I just think they just get open and they're electrifying. So that's just how I value the receiver position.
Yeah.
Also,
I'm
offended you said it was a terrible pick. So now I'm digging my heels in. I'm freaking pissed off about it. So
I just felt like, you know what, we were agreeing too much throughout this whole draft. It was getting a little too
chummy. Yeah.
So okay, the only other thing, obviously you need a wide receiver who can get open, but sometimes you need a wide receiver who can make himself open. And I don't know that Moore is going to do that the same way. Like some guys who can they can take the top off the field. They can also win on jump balls. They can get the back shoulder fades. It's different. So you're going to need a creative offense. You're going to need to use them in creative ways. And the Ravens may be able to do that.
Well, their whole offense is creative because Lamar Jackson's so limited. I see what you're saying, but the difference I'm just feeling is, to me, Rondale Moore is a high floor guy. Is Rondale Moore ever going to lead the league in receiving? Probably not, but he's physical and he gets open. Versus I could have gone with a Rashad Bateman, who is 6'2", and a bigger guy, and looked at probably as more of a number one. But I've seen a lot of those guys like who are big and you want them to be a number one, who have a high ceiling, and then they just don't do crap because they can't get open and they're not fast enough. Like Akeem Butler or N'Keal Harry, like those guys that just you think are number ones and they don't. So now I'm just justifying why I took Rondale Moore. This is like my thought behind it, okay? But anyway, we need to move on. I'm sorry.
I got you. That's okay, because now that you bring it up, I'm going to take Rashad Bateman with the New Orleans Saints.
Okay.
I could have gone a couple different ways here, but you don't have Drew Brees anymore. You better get Jameis Winston some help, or Taysom Hill, who's ever going to be throwing the ball. And I like him because he doesn't need to take all the pressure because you still have Michael Thomas.
It's a great situation for him, yeah.
So he doesn't have to be that true number one, but he can certainly help that offense.
All right, well, we're just gonna keep this. Wide receiver run rolling, and I'm gonna go Kadarius Toney with the Packers, who that feels like a great fit because you have freaking Devontae Adams on the outside, you have Allen Lazard, and then to add a Kadarius Toney, who's more of a slot guy who just get the ball in his hands, gonna make something happen. That's a dangerous weapon for Aaron Rodgers for sure.
So you have a couple wide receivers that are a little higher over like Elijah Moore, You're just thinking these guys are just gonna take over a game a little bit more than some of those guys.
I just value and again, dude, everything I do is just because of like my being influenced by the 49ers. But like I just like guys who make something happen when the ball is in their hands. And I've seen like they run the same offense the 49ers do because he's a LaFleur disciple.
Yeah.
Both Brandon Ayuk and Deebo Samuel, physical runners with the ball in their hands, they get run plays. They're considered pass plays, but they're just little run plays. And Kadarius Toney and Rondell Moore, to me, like in my mind, are the two that would fit perfectly in that system. Just watching them with the ball in their hands. I just like Rondell Moore because I think he's more aggressive, but Kadarius Toney is unreal. He's electrifying for sure. So
I will say he gets overlooked a little bit just because he played with Kyle Pitts. So people aren't talking about him as much. So no, I don't hate it. I think it's just interesting how you've looked at those guys compared to how some of the draft experts, as we say, have valued some others. But no, not bad by any means. So Bills on the clock now at number 30. Have a couple needs for them as well. Looking at my board here, have some wide receivers. Don't think they need to go there. So I'm going to go edge, Azeez Ojulari, edge out of Georgia. Okay. I think he's a playmaker. Shore up some more talent on that defense. And I think, just the way this board's worked out, go ahead and fill a need right here with a star player. You can address the offensive line a little bit later, and all the cornerbacks that you would take around here are gone. So,
yep. Good. So with the Ravens, they have the second pick here. He's still on the board. I am going to go edge as well, and I'm going to go Jalen Phillips from Miami, who I've seen him as high as the second best edge player. Some people there's varying opinions on him, but I think that the Ravens, the success they've had is because their defense has been very good. And I mean, if I'm gonna, you never know at the end of the first round because the last 10 picks, a lot of them are like second round grades, and there's just not enough guys. Yeah. So if I'm gonna take a swing, I'm gonna take a swing on like an edge guy or something like that. Mm-hmm. And I think Jalen Phillips still being on the board is a good value for them.
Yeah, I think it makes sense. You addressed your need earlier with the wide receiver, which is definitely going to be their biggest need. With that first pick, you kind of have that extra pick now at 31. I mean, I think you can afford to swing on one or both of these picks. So it's solid. So now the Super Bowl champ Tampa Bay Buccaneers at 32. Man,
first off, before you make your pick, did you see who Chris Sims Jr. mocked to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at 32 in his last mock draft? It's like the last one he does before. Do you know who he mocked?
I didn't see that. No.
Justin Fields. He thinks is going to fall to 32. Justin Fields.
Are you kidding me?
No. He said Justin Fields is going to fall to 32. He has him at like, if you look at his quarterback rankings, he has him at like quarterback 6 behind Kellen Mond. Anyway. Yes. So and he's one of those.
As a Texas fan, don't get me started on Chris Sims, dude.
Yeah, dude, and like and again, like we remember that everything that they're based off of is clicks and ratings and everything, and he does a great job of that for sure. But holy crap, dude, I couldn't believe that when I saw it. Anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
That's garbage, man.
Yeah.
No, so I've seen a few different things for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I haven't seen anything egregious as that. When you're the Super Bowl champs, you're at 32. I think you can afford to kind of take some risks, take some swings here. So it may not be their biggest need, but he's on the board here at the number 20 according to PFF. I'm going to take Elijah Moore, wide receiver out of Ole Miss. You're not getting Antonio Brown back. You still have Godwin, Evans, obviously some talent on that side of the ball. So might as well just get a little bit richer on that side of the ball. Your defense is still fine, no glaring holes that you can address later. So Tom Brady is protected well on offensive line. The only other thing that's going to make him happier is someone he can throw the ball to, and I think Elijah Moore is absolutely that guy if you can get him at 32.
Yeah, great. And if you're Elijah Moore, how hyped are you to go play with Tom Brady as a rookie? And learn from Chris Godwin, learn from Mike Evans. It's a great situation for him.
Exactly.
Dang,
So
man.
yeah, we kind of blitzed through that second half. I'm interested if there's what are some other name players you're kind of looking at for early day 2, day 3, or just some people to watch out for?
Well, so I think that you are gonna. We had a little wide receiver run there. I don't think that both Rondell Moore and Kadarius Toney will go on the first day. I personally just value them that high because we've seen in the last couple of years we've seen a couple second round receivers go on day 2 in the second round and then play like first round
Mhm.
receivers. Talking AJ Brown, Debo Samuel, DK Metcalf. So to me as a GM, I'm looking at those guys and I'm like, dude, they have a lot of those similar qualities that I value, even though they're not the biggest guys. Like, to me, they're gonna play like first round receivers. So I think you're gonna be able to get one or both of those guys on day 2, possibly a Rashad Bateman, depending on how it plays out. But then also I'm interested to see how these edge players result because there's still some good edge players on the board, and we might have even been over aggressive on it. So if you have an edge player like a Jalen Phillips or shoot, Gregory Rousseau probably has the highest chance of being there on day 2. This
Mhm.
dude had 15 and a half sacks in
Yeah.
2019, so that's a huge deal. Um, like I would expect some teams trying to trade up in the second round to grab a guy who has that type of ceiling. And then of course the classic. I want to know where Kyle Trask, Kellen Mond are going to end up
Mhm.
if in fact they'll be day 2 picks. Um, that's going to be really interesting to watch, especially with some of these teams like the Steelers. Maybe the Falcons take a reach in the second
Yeah.
round if they don't in the first. That's always fun to see. And then like Travis Etienne, like just guys I loved watching in college.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's kind of where my head is at for sure.
Yeah, and I think, the way our board played out, we only had 2 linebackers go in the first round, which seems pretty low. So there's still a lot of talent for linebackers. A lot of teams are going to look for that kind of Devin White type guy, a
Yeah,
guy that can come in, a Fred Warner, right, a Darius Leonard, a guy who can come in
yeah.
and be your Mike linebacker right away and be an all-pro. So there could be a run on that. We still have a lot of tackles on the board, which teams have seen immediate improvement when you have a tackle come in and shore up either the right or left side of that line. So there
Yeah.
could be some trades up for that. And then, yeah, I'm interested to see where the running backs go. I love Najee Harris. I love Travis Etienne. It'd be interesting to see if they go first round. It feels like one of them is going to go. Even Javonte Williams could go in the first round.
Javonte Williams might be, yeah.
Yeah. But other than that, if none of them go in the first round, you're going to see all 3 of them go like almost immediately or like within a few picks of each other in that second round. I don't think people are going to let a good starting running back drop too far, even though they probably should.
Sure. I think that you're going to see you're going to look back at this running back class, and I think it's going to be one of the stronger running back classes. I
Yeah.
just like I think Najee is great, even though Najee doesn't have elite speed. He's great balance, great athlete. He blew up at Alabama this past year.
Yeah.
He's the guy who remember the pro day was happening at Alabama, and his plane got canceled, his flight got
Hmm.
canceled, so he drove the 9 hours to not even compete. He just wanted to support his
Yeah.
teammates. So like, just says a lot about who he is as a person. We love Travis Etienne, and you mentioned Javonte Williams. His teammate Michael Carter is right up there too. Could be a second round pick also.
True.
But two North Carolina running backs. So I think you're going to look back in a year or two and be like, dang, that was a great running back class. You got guys making plays all over
Yeah.
the place. So
Yeah. And then the last thing I'll say, the most interesting thing, seeing all of these quarterbacks go in the first round, it's just going to be, every year you just got to watch where these rookies go and then how they develop. Like Mac Jones going to the Patriots seems like a good fit, but there's probably going to be some chatter for him to start right away if he's not
yeah,
the week 1 starter or as soon as Cam Newton starts struggling. Justin Fields obviously will probably come in there and boot out Jimmy G, and then the Jets and the Jags have their new guy, so all that hype around them and what's gonna come of it.
what percent chance? I'm going to ask you for this for 2 teams. Same question for 2
Okay.
different teams. First, what is the percent chance do you give the Jags to picking someone besides Trevor Lawrence? Is it 0?
It's 0, man.
It's absolutely 0, right?
I truly can't think of like what there would be no reason to ever pick someone else. Yeah, you have to think Urban Meyer says, I want Trevor Lawrence, that's why I'm taking this job. And nobody's going to fault you for taking Lawrence and him becoming a bust.
Yeah.
Whereas if you take any other guy, they're going to be like, why didn't you just take Lawrence? It would have been perfectly fine. So,
yeah. All right. So then same question for the New York Jets and Zach Wilson. What's the % chance they take someone other than Zach Wilson?
Yeah. See, this one feels a little bit more. Yeah. I don't know. I think I trust the reports that it's going to be Zach Wilson, but I feel like it could be like 40% chance they go Justin Fields. Like,
whoa, that's way higher than I would say. Wow.
I'm not going to give it the majority is saying they're probably going to take Zach Wilson, but if they took Justin Fields, I feel like that's got to be their next choice, and I don't think there's that much of a difference, right? Like, I mean, if anything, Fields feels like the safer bet.
Yeah.
Because Wilson had one good year, right? And I mean, Fields is a stud, and he tore up Clemson, absolutely tore up Clemson, and didn't play that bad against Alabama.
There's some rumors out there because people are just trying to figure out this whole Mac Jones thing to the Niners, and some people I read something that was interesting. They're saying this smokescreen the 49ers are putting on is not to keep teams from trading up to take Justin Fields to trade with the Jets. It's to keep the Jets from taking Justin Fields, because if everything you heard was Kyle Shanahan saying, I love Justin Fields, I think he's the best quarterback in this draft, like the Jets are going to get jumpy and be like, wait a second, like this is the guy we just came from, maybe he's onto something. So I thought that was interesting. I would say it's like 10 to 15% they would take Justin Fields, and just because the draft is weird, anything can happen. And Zach Wilson is anything but a lock. But just I trust the reports. That's kind of how I feel about it. I just kind of trust the reports on everything. And but you never, like, if they took Justin Fields, I would be pretty shocked, but it's not like earth-shattering shocked. You know what I mean? So
yeah, and it feels like Justin Fields' comp is Cam Newton.
Okay.
And like a healthy Cam Newton, which you would certainly take top 3, right? Barring he's healthy and all of that. Whereas Zach Wilson, they want to say is like a Patrick Mahomes, right? Where he can scramble out, he can throw off balance.
His style of play is somewhat similar, yeah.
Yeah, which then if you're thinking, well, do I want Cam Newton or do I want Patrick Mahomes? I want Patrick Mahomes. So I'm probably going to swing for Wilson in the hopes of getting closer to Mahomes than taking Fields and getting closer to Cam Newton.
Yeah,
is what it feels like.
Yeah,
but
no, I'm on board with you there, because I have felt like he resembles, and not that he's ever going to be close to Patrick Mahomes, but some of his throws he makes will remind you of Patrick Mahomes, and that's pretty enticing as a franchise.
Yeah.
So. Yeah.
The problem is the Jets don't have Andy Reid and Eric Bieniemy, so
they do not.
It doesn't matter. I don't think Matt Nagy would have turned Patrick Mahomes into the Patrick Mahomes we know. I'm just
no, and it helps. It helps. You've got Tyreek Hill. It helps you get stretch the field. You've got Travis Kelce, but I'm rooting for. I have some emotional attachment to Zach Wilson being a BYU guy. Like, I'm rooting for him for sure, and I love Robert Saleh, so I'm rooting for them for sure. But you can't go into the season with your safety blanket being Tevin Coleman at running back. So the Jets need to help him out there a little bit. So
yeah, no doubt. So all right, sports fans, thanks so much for tuning in. We are pumped for the draft. It is coming up soon. So get your popcorn ready, as they say, and thanks for tuning in. We will be back next week or soon after to talk recap and talk about how I was right and Seth was wrong.
Whatever. That's garbage. Rondell Moore is going to be a Hall of Famer by next week. You're going to see it. Also, if I don't appear next week and the 49ers have drafted Mac Jones, someone come looking for me, all right? Because who knows what happened to me at that point. So just keep that in mind.
We'll send a search party. I think all your students who are watching and listening are probably hoping Mac Jones is picked, so they get a substitute teacher.
So I won't show up. Yeah, well, guess what? I'm going to show up, and I'm going to be the worst version of Mr. Hanson they've ever seen. So, Coach Hanson, they're going to hate me. So, anyway.
All right. Thanks for tuning in, guys. We'll talk soon.